My name is Eamon Madden. I am the nephew of the man that owns this forge, who's also called Eamon Madden. My uncle, he ran this forge here for at least 60 years. He inherited from his uncle and grandfather before him. The first forge in this area, Maddens Forge in this area, was roughly 1880 when my great-grandfather set it up. It was in the building next door. The building we're in at the moment was built in roughly the 1930s, and my uncle ran it from the 30s and 40s on until the 90s. And my uncle kept shoeing horses right up into his 80s. And then one evening he went home, closed the doors, and just never came back because he said he had enough. He was time to retire in his 80s. And this building, as you see now, is literally left like it was the day he moved out. And we deliberately wanted it kept this way, that when you look around this place, you can see all the irons that were literally left after 60 years of being used. It was mainly shoeing horses for farmers, but also every implement on the farm had to be fixed. If it broke down, nothing was bought new. So my uncle's job would be to fix gates, ploughs, anything made of metal would be brought in here. I remember as a young guy seeing loads of gates, loads of machinery, loads of ploughs outside the door, and my uncle in the forge behind me making something new for them or welding. But then he also shod loads of horses. Back up until the 60s, there was very few tractors, so every farmer had a horse. Every horse had to be shod, and from miles around, all the horses came to this forge here, and my uncle shod them. And I remember asking him years later what was it like, because obviously you go to the back of the horse where it's the dangerous part. You know, we were always taught as kids never go around the back of a horse because that's where the kick, but that was his job, was to go to the back of the horse. And he'd go to the back of the horse and he'd run his hands down the back of the thing, lift up the foot and hold on for dear life, because he had to show the horse that he was as strong as the horse. But they need to know when the horse is going too bad to let the horse go before any damage occurred, then repeat the process. But another reason why it was a real community hub was my uncle was a great conversationalist. So he could keep a conversation going while he was shoeing a horse. And again, as a young man, I remember he'd be talking away and everyone would be talking about various affairs. But then when he went on the anvil to do the banging, he just did his work, everyone stopped talking, and when he stopped banging the anvil again, the conversation started up again. So he was able to keep the work going and the conversation going at the same time. And then every evening, this place would be filled with men as well at night, because the men that didn't drink, didn't go to the pub, they came here and they had their conversations. So this place would be open till 10 o'clock at night. But he also had to spend loads of time on the anvil behind me, because whenever he was fixing a gate or fixing a plough or anything, it all had to be forged on the anvil, and that involved putting the iron in the fire, taking it out, beating it with a sledge. In fact, I had a little job here for a while in my teens, where he had to sharpen bits of metal for the county council, and my job was to hold the metal in my hand with my two hands while he pointed the other end of it. I had to turn it in every so often to point all four sides, but if you held the metal wrong, the pain up your arms was unbelievable because the shock went up through you. And also the people that came to visit, anyone that came in for a chat would be called into action. If the bit of metal was too long, they had to hold it while he hammered it. But most of the time, he would hold the bit of metal in his left hand and keep doing this with his right hand for hours on end. To stay doing that from his 20s all the way up to his 80s, you can see the wall behind me is black with smoke and soot, and that man kept working through it all, and he's still going today at 97, so fair play to him. The forge is closed almost 20 years now. My uncle went home one evening and left it the way it was. It was left idle for a number of years. The Heritage Centre came, and now they open the doors every day for tourists to come in. They can see exactly the way it was the day my uncle walked out and get the same smell, same feel, the same look of the place as the day he left.